Okay. All right. So check this out. This is True News for 365 .com, and I'm going to cover this whole issue with the Georgia Guidestones being blown. I think it happened today. And it says that somebody blew up the Georgia Guidestones, or tried to, because they're still there. Well, I think one of them came down, and a cornerstone came down of the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, now I'm not happy about this. Okay, but I'm not happy. I don't like the Georgia Guidestones. It's just the Georgia Guidestones is a huge, mysterious thing, right? There's a really good video out there I saw many years ago about the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, somebody came with huge money to a politician or something like that. I'm gonna try to find that video so I can get my details right. But somebody came with an anonymous name, okay, with a huge purse of money, and paid someone to erect these stones, okay, the Georgia Guidestones, okay, and the Georgia Guidestones represents a uh, uh, basically, after hearing all of this, you'll find this online all over the place, and there's really no other way to debate it. Okay, the Georgia Guidestones represents a worldview, okay, that is completely not Christian. Okay, and the Georgia Guidestones, since 1979 or 1980, when it was first revealed, is set in Atlanta, somewhere in Atlanta, a city of Atlanta. And we all know that Atlanta is what they call the middle or the buckle of the Bible Belt, right? So Christians look at this and they say this is an up yours statement, okay, of secularism and secular mindset, secular thought in the middle of what is known as the Bible Belt. Now, we know that this was 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the Bible Belt isn't what it is today. Today, the Bible Belt is a septic uh, uh, a septic tank of sin and adultery and fornication and false Christianity. We all know that. Okay, I saw a poll that I heard about a poll that like 5% of Americans actually go regularly to church. Okay, so that's a whole different podcast, and I should be getting into that. Absolutely, the secularization of our country continues on and on and on. So what's popular in the news today was another mass shooter, a real freak show with colored hair and tattoos up to the neck, a crazy nut job that we still I don't even think we have enough information on, who shot up in a location for the 4th of July somewhere in Chicago. Okay, and so that's in the news today. So that is the product of secularism, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely. Okay, and so it's 4th of July. About 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court decided to turn back on Roe versus Wade. And so the leftists have been, on social media, they're going absolutely berserk. And that I can attest to. All over the place. Everywhere that there's a podcast, an open forum, you've got leftists and Democrats and liberals going absolutely buck wild. And even now, a lot of protests are going on, and people and the media is not really showing every single protest that's going on. But it's everywhere. Okay? The leftists are going berserk, thinking that the far right is taking absolute control because of the repealing of Roe versus Wade, and so I find this incredibly interesting. The fact that the Georgia Guidestones, someone blew this up. Now I'm thinking not just any teenage juvenile delinquents are going to be able to blow up these monuments, as you can see. Okay, they're not going to blow these things up. These things are extremely expensive. They're like 18, 19 feet tall. They're heavy as hell, and they're a tourist area actually for the past 40 years. But what is it a tourist attraction to? It's a tourist attraction to everything that stands in opposition to the surrounding area, which is the Bible Belt, okay? Christian America, okay? So I'm not offended by these things, but this thing is a reminder of the mentality. The people, the person who erected this, the powers that allowed these Guidestones to be here right now, are the secular elite. There had to be a secularist, elitist, very rich, rogue personality who decided, I'm going to make a statement, and I'm so rich that all I have to do is find a politician or a politician or political power that's going to buckle to my money and allow me to erect these New World Order, secular, humanistic um, plaques, okay, and post this in the middle of the Bible Belt for the whole world to see. So obviously, this has been out. This has been up there in Christian America, in a supposed Christian America. Really, right now we're in post Christian America, and these are still standing there. Now, the first thing I thought about was it was probably a leftist who blew this up, because in the recent years it's been leftists that have been blowing things up, and this is something that is, if someone who's conservative did this, they should not have, because they don't have a right to do this. The people of this municipality should be able to get their politicians to get rid of it or sell it or send it somewhere else. Get rid of it. Somebody can purchase it and from the city and then destroy it, do whatever they want. That's what I would rather see done. But of course, they don't want to go around the politics, because Atlanta, to this day, is now, if it's not a blue state already, it's deep purple. You see what I'm saying? It's no longer conservative. It's just a hotbed of evil doing, and so it wasn't going to go anywhere. So probably if it was a conservative or whatever, it had to be someone with enough power and ability and capacity to get those type of explosives there to do this type of thing. Now, this is a crime. The fact that they did this is a crime, and so I do not applaud it. But I'm not crying to see that something like this destroyed. The problem is that the secularist elite have more than enough money to erect 50 more of these. You see, if that's what they want to do. The same thing with what happened with the statue that they posted up in the by the United Nations. That cat monster bear / whatever statue is not. I don't look at it as a prophetic thing. I look at it as a one-up on you to Christians, because they know what's in the book of Revelation. They know what Christians have been touting for the longest time. And so they said, well, let's put a symbol of the New World Order up to kind of, stick our thumbs up at Christianity, because we understand that the United Nations is a globalist elite, system within itself that has its origins in communism. So just let's watch a little bit more of this video, of this report, and then I'm going to read the stuff that's written on these Guidestones, just as a reminder.
Explosion destroyed part of a popular North Georgia monument that's been the source of a lot of speculation over 4 decades.
Those near the Georgia Guidestones say that they heard a loud boom this morning. Now officials are working to figure out who did it. Fox 5's Eric Perry is live near that monument in Elbert County, where crews have been at that site for over 12 hours now.
Notice how everyone in this report that they're going to interview, like the locals, all of them are dead set against it, and none of them are saying, yeah, good, I'm glad those stupid things are out of here, blah blah blah. I'm glad they damaged them, because of course Fox isn't exactly a Christian spiritual, they're more swimming in leftism themselves on the down low than anything else.
Yeah, Courtney, Tom, if you joined us at 4 o'clock, you would have actually seen part of that monument still erected. Within that past hour, crews brought in equipment and they've knocked the remaining portion of it down. You're taking a live look here as they're working through this. A lot of agencies working together on this. We are standing on this side because at one point crews didn't know if there were other bombs that were planted or not detonated earlier. Whether you're in the air or on the ground, the massive presence from law enforcement is unmatched after an explosion jolted those surrounding the Georgia Guidestones near Elberton Wednesday morning.
For the years, we've had messages spray painted on the Guidestones, but we've never had this level of damage ever done to the Guidestones.
Christopher Kuvas is with the Elberton Granite Association. His organization's in charge of maintaining the popular tourist site. He says the county owns the property and maintains security.
One of the wings is completely been destroyed. It's actually laying on the ground. I can see it. The capstone piece is been damaged, and I'm sure the other 3 wings and the center support probably have damage to them as well.
The attraction was unveiled in 1980 by R.C. Christian and a group who funded the project. The detailed granite work was done by a local manufacturing company, and it's no small feat. The wings are over 16 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and a weight of a whopping 42,000 pounds.
You know, here we are several thousand years later, and Stonehenge is still standing. Imagine if it had writing on it, and you could read what the people of that time thought was important.
Well, listen to I find it very surprising that this man would say that. Stonehenge doesn't have writings on it, and it's funny that he would make that comparison. The only thing with the Stonehenge in relation to that is kind of the shapes of the rocks. Stonehenge are more like boulders and more like rocks. The Guidestones is more made to seem like more of a representation of Stonehenge. The only thing with the Guidestones is that they're more expressive than Stonehenge, because Stonehenge within itself is a mystery of some ancient religion or people of the past who believed something and had a certain scientific understandings of, of how they saw things, what I'm saying? So, but the Stonehenge is actually a representation of that, or in similarity. And Stonehenge has those inscriptions on there, which is taken to be completely a different worldview than the foundation of our nation. You see what I'm saying? I'm not really at liberty to say what worldview that is, but it damn well has a lot in common with secularism, the secularism that we know today, and the secular humanism that we have today. So we're going to look now at some of the inscriptions that are on there, and it just kind of gives you a chill as to, oh, I kind of lost it. Let's see if I can find this again. It's too bad. Let me see if I can find this. I lost it. Okay, here it is. Wait. Let me see if I can find it. I totally messed this up. That was one of the main things I wanted to show. The inscriptions. The inscription of what these things say. It's interesting because it's mainly because of its mystery. Mainly because some people think that someone as rich as Ted Turner, who's a globalist elite himself. Let's see. Look what it says. It says maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Okay, right there. That's environmentalist, and that's population. People that are completely taken over by environmentalism. A lot of those extreme environmentalists believe that that there should only be a smidgen amount of people in comparison to. They believe that humanity is a poison on the planet, Okay, guide reproduction wisely. Oh yeah, how? Improving fitness and diversity. There goes that diversity thing, okay, that we see in secular humanism. Okay, unite humanity with a living new language. What on earth? What new language? Kind of reminds me of the book of Genesis, where it talks about the Tower of Babel. Their ideas are still the same. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Rule passion. Okay, so someone is going to rule the passion, faith, and traditions. Okay, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. On the surface, all of this sounds great, but the question is, who's going to do this? It's not suggesting that people themselves will govern themselves. No, it's suggesting that there's going to be a globalist, a centrist power that's going to do all of that for you. Okay? Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world order court. You see? So while it says, let all nations rule internally, it sounds like it's saying everybody is sovereign, the nations be sovereign, but yet it says it's going to external disputes in a world court, order court. Okay? So they're not going to have their own courts. Okay? They want a new world order court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Avoid petty laws. What does that mean? That means a lack of lawlessness. That means mankind, they have this idea that people need less laws. Okay? We know that that goes against the Bible, where it says that that we need laws, okay, to keep people in order, because man is not internally good. Man is internally evil, and he needs those laws and discipline in order to keep himself in check. Balance personal rights with social duties. That one just sounds creepy, and it goes past me. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. It doesn't name who or what is that infinite. Okay? All right? We know that the secular humanist also believes, and some of its founders actually believed in a religion. And oftentimes, that's what happens in secularism. They themselves become their own God, and they do not name the name of God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, they believe in some kind of a untouchable God with the God has no personality, has no real communication with people. He's just there. He created and kept himself in check and just left people to do and rule themselves. Okay? The last one is actually the best one. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Okay? Be not a cancer on the earth. Now, what does that mean? Okay? Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Could that mean don't overpopulate? Because if not, you're going to be a cancer on the earth. That's what we've heard from many extreme environmentalists in the past. We've heard that type of sentiment. Leave room for nature means less people, more room for nature, right? So that's the interesting part. That's the interesting thing about these Guidestones, that they are a representation of they're a representation of
Either I had too much
hang
gin.
on, let me turn that on. They're a representation of secularism. Okay, and so they're not Christian. They were erected in the middle of the Bible Belt 40 years ago, and somebody blew them up. And I'm thinking maybe it could have been somebody, a far right person who blew it up, because I'm thinking someone who did it had to have enough money to put up and enough plan to be able to do something like this. They probably didn't want to have to go through all the municipalities and the politics in order to get rid of it, because it probably would have taken forever. But to me, I don't like the sentiment of New World Order and secular humanism, but I think this is a crime. I think people should not go out of their way to do this because, this world is passing away. That's what the Lord said. This is not our world. Our world is we're only passing through. Okay, and God will do justice on the earth. We do not have to be protective about this earth. Okay, we don't have to go about having this type of aggression towards the opposition. God is the judge. God will handle things as He always has handled things. Okay, we don't have to. This is not a job work of God. Okay, this is kind of like blowing up abortion clinics. This is kind of like it's not a good thing to. It's not a good thing, even though those Guidestones were a sentiment of absolute secularism. The average liberal may not fight against those sentiments, but they exactly don't align themselves to the degree that that Stonehenge, that monument was erected, because the globalist elite are fooling them. They are the average liberal is the pawn of and the useless dummy of the globalist elites that are out there. The liberals, they sometimes think that what they're doing is correct, and not all of them are extreme. Most of them are just indoctrinated, and they're just ill-educated, and they really don't understand. They've been indoctrinated. They've been duped into thinking this way, and most of them don't understand the dangers of this type of thinking. They don't understand that. Because they don't know God. Just like God says, they're being fooled by the evil one. They're being fooled by greater evils that they have no respect for, that they have no knowledge of. Okay? They think this is just, we die, we're stardust, we disappear, and everything can be done with politics, everything could be done, whatever. They don't see intrinsic value or intrinsic understanding of anything transcendental. They just don't. They're not equipped to think that way, like the born again believer. And so, like I said, this is a crime. This is a something that should not have happened. But I'm not crying that they're destroyed. If the rest of America wants to fight against New World Order, I would rather them, do it by way of going out into the streets and preaching the word of God, the gospel, and erecting, and fixing up their homes, and fixing up the churches, and fixing up getting the kids out of school, and separating from the world. That's what I would rather see. I want to see more people come to Christ. I don't care to see a war between left and right. I don't care to see people wearing horns and calling themselves ultra-right conservatives. I don't care about that. That is not the way. That's a Barabbas. That's a person who's an extremist. That's a person who wants, who's basically in the same situation as the person who's a leftist. Excuse me. They're in the same predicament because they may not know Christ. Okay, if they knew Christ, they would not have that aggression. Okay, so the leftist, the secular humanist, is our mission field. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say for this video. This video ran a lot longer than I wanted it to, but I appreciate you sticking around to the end of this. Okay, and okay, so God bless. So check me out at truenews365.com. Until next time, take care. Bye.
Anchor.fm/DRU News 365.